Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Art of Relationship show. I apologize for last week. I was sick. So I couldn't even freaking talk and sinuses all over the place. So feeling a little bit better, not 100%. So welcome back to the Art of Relationship show. I appreciate you joining and tuning in today. Got a special guest that will be with me in a little bit live, Michelle Pava, and talking about, compliments, right? And we're going to take a little bit of a different twist that comes out. And that's why I titled this Dangerous Compliments. And you look at, maybe you can relate. So don't go anywhere. And also look at, are you doing this in your relationship? Are you doing this with other people? And we're going to get right after this. And dangerous compliments. Don't go anywhere, people. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Art of Relationship show. I'm going to bring Michelle Pava on right now. So everybody say hello. Can we hear you?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Awesome.
Woo!
It has been too long. We did a show. Oh my, it's been a long time. And I love you. I love your work. You know this. You're phenomenal. So tell people before we get into, I call it dangerous compliments, and or let's face it, our compliments hitting a mark or hitting the wrong target. Tell everybody, number one, where they can find you, and of course, about you. Of course,
Okay.
your bubbly, friendly personality. Tell everybody.
Some people think so. Okay, so first of all, hi everyone. I'm Michelle Pava. You can reach me at michellepava.com. So a little bit about me. I fell into this work actually because I had issues. I had trauma. I was left for dead. I didn't think I could heal.
Yeah.
So naturally, I just started really focusing on trauma, but I was doing it the wrong way. I was doing it backwards, trying to push everything away, trying to just move on with life. And when I started realizing how to really get through trauma, I just wanted to help other people to do the same, because there's nothing like living with trauma, but there's totally nothing like being rising from it and feeling more empowered. So
Michelle, and I give you a lot of credit. And there's a huge aspect, with trauma, and that's one thing. Like a lot of people do, it's that fight or flight. We don't want to deal with that pain, so we try to ignore it, and it causes a lot more problems. And I get it; no one wants to deal with that.
No,
So
it's
I love survivors of trauma, as you know. It takes so much courage and strength for real. And now, what about the trauma of compliments in a relationship or in a marriage? And I know on your post, that's sort of, I commented on it when I said, oh, you know what? This makes a lot of sense. And how many people are guilty? Do we say the word guilty? What the hell? Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Guilty of doing this. And can you explain to the listeners what your
Yeah.
take is, so people know what the hell we're talking about?
Yeah. So I had a situation with a very dear friend of mine,
Oh,
who was saying, "Good morning, beautiful. How you doing, sweet lady?" Just very complimentary.
mhm.
But compliments are a very blurry area. I didn't even realize this. So here's what happened. I was offended by it. And so if you're offended by certain types.
Okay. A quick question. Now, if this individual was in your eyes super hot, would you have been offended by it?
Oh, he is super hot. He's
Oh,
totally
no, okay.
He's super hot. And if he's watching right now, he knows exactly who he is. He's he's attractive. He's great. I actually was even trying to set him up with a friend of mine.
Oh, no.
No, like I really think highly of him.
Just asking.
So yeah, so he's a good-looking guy. So I was definitely offended by the compliments. Let me tell you why.
Please.
And I know that now let me back up a little
Well,
bit.
and
So
I understand where you're coming from.
mhm.
So
So
please.
let me get comfortable here, by the way. And everyone looking, there's going to be a fly going around. I'm in my office locked with a fly, and it's going to show up because I'm the only thing earthy in this room other than a plant. So it's going to show up.
Yes.
So I was offended, and I put a very general post up on my Facebook, and I said, "Ladies, this is for ladies only. Do you get offended by this type of compliment?"
Oh.
And I was very specific about the type of compliment, where it was coming from, yada, yada, yada. Okay, so I do that. I was expecting, I was looking for confirmation bias. I was looking for all of these women to be like, yeah, you go, girl, you tell him not to do that. And what I actually got was maybe 3 people saying that. And the rest of them had all these different ideas of what compliments were.
Yeah.
And also, they were sharing where they came from in life. So if someone had a hard time with compliments, they welcomed almost any compliment. But again, compliments are actually very blurry because what anyone, male or female,
Oh,
considers a
so cute.
compliment is very different. So I don't feel that like I was getting a lot of, oh, you look good for your age, and that kind of thing. And that's nice, but that's not like an accomplishment to me. If you want to impress me, tell me that you're impressed with the fact that I wrote a book while my grandson was sleeping, like for a year. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like that's
Right.
an accomplishment to me. Because writing is hard to switch gears and turn it on and off. Like, oh, he fell asleep. Now I'm creative. I'm not going to clean the house. I'm going to watch it because I also watch my grandson, by the way. So, uh, that would have been to me something that I would have been like, "Oh my gosh, that's so great that he noticed that." But telling me that I look good for a grandmother or that I'm beautiful even or anything, I get
Do we
it's coming from a
suggest
good intention,
do we
but
suggest GILF? Ah,
yes, I am.
disrespectful,
No,
right?
so
And and I look at, and everyone's looking at Michelle like, "Oh, you're not a grandmother." No, yeah, right.
yeah,
But looking at, and with clients and stuff, and you might have heard me say, I'm huge on, we our intent versus our impact, and
exactly.
we have to look at the impact it has on other people. And I love it, Michelle, when you said, some people, when you know their self-esteem might be lower or not healthy, and they might love compliments. I remember I used to hate compliments because I didn't feel it. I would feel like, ew, oh, icky and squirmy when I was younger, because I'm like, I didn't think like that. I was like, ew, I don't think of that within myself. So it creeped me out.
Right.
I'm a lot better now. I'm
Mhm.
more at ease or at peace with it now, but
Right.
I get you. So you're right. That impact is huge. And sometimes, like, we could go into a restaurant, how many waitresses, right? Or
Mhm.
waiters. Hey, babe. Hi, beautiful. Hi, handsome. And they work that, and we take it like, they don't mean anything by it.
Right.
And again, the environment where we're at, who's doing it, right?
Exactly. And so for me, what was happening is, and here's what I've learned because I've been really, not only did I get the feedback, but then I started inboxing some of my friends, it's my friends on Facebook. So I
Sure.
was inboxing them, asking them, like, okay, can you go deeper into this? I want to know more about it. And what I found was, so how I grew up was compliments were a given, but compliments were about, they could be about your looks once in a while, but it was more about accomplishments.
Good.
And it was just a given. It was like, so I had an upbringing where once a month my parents would invite someone over and I had to have a conversation with them. It could be somebody very random. It Somebody
Oh,
my dad
wow.
or mom worked with, or just
Sure.
anyone, and I had to learn how to have a conversation with them, accept a compliment, give a compliment, and be comfortable with that. And that was a
What a
once a
great
month thing.
lesson.
What was that?
What a great lesson.
Yeah, it was. But I also there's also trauma behind that
Well,
too.
I know, I
Because I
know.
had to sit straight at the dinner table, and if I slouched, it was like a big deal. Anyways, so it was good and not good. But because of that, I just got used to that. And my mom and dad also had me in a lot of activities. I was very, very introverted, and I'm also neurodivergent. So I call it a hint of autism. So I am autistic.
Yeah.
Uh, I wasn't diagnosed until my 20s, and I learned how to cope, and on the spectrum, very mild. But because I was a little quirky as a kid, my parents always had me in anything that had to do with public speaking. So, or in front of people. So, dance recitals, pageants where there was public speaking, anything
Right.
just so that I would not be afraid in front of a crowd or one on one.
Which is
Um,
phenomenal.
so I got used to not only being in that crowd, but also it's very complimentary, that crowd. You know, pageants and dance recitals and all of that leads to that. So I wasn't lacking in compliments or how to handle them. And the interesting thing is, there were people that were saying, a lot of people that were saying, because I don't like certain compliments, I had to learn how to be comfortable with them,
Big
which is
difference.
which is
Big
different.
difference.
It's very different because I am comfortable with them. I'm not comfortable with superficial compliments or objectifying compliments in a proper context. Like, I have many male friends, but they don't wake me up every morning with "Hi, beautiful," because I would begin to think that maybe they were interested in me. So, you know what I mean? So
Right.
it really depends. But I do think it's important for men and women to see compliments the way relationships are. Sometimes they're just transactional relationships where it's about doing something for someone else.
Right.
And sometimes compliments are just so that you feel good. Like, "Oh, hi, beautiful," like a waitress saying, "Hi, handsome," to a guy. Like, it's transactional. You're going to be giving her a tip.
I've never heard that. So
I don't believe that. So, so, when you go anywhere, so if I go somewhere, and which is very rare, let me tell you, I do not like to eat out at all.
oh,
A
I'm
whole nother show. I cannot
that
stand.
well, yeah, we'll talk about that. I eat out a lot. Yeah.
Ugh, don't like it. I feel like they're in control of everything. My food, my seat, my this, my look.
Let go once in a while, right?
I have issues.
No, we all do, Michelle. And
so, so
looking at, with compli and it's huge because our intent might be super humble, might be
right.
very honest, very sincere,
Yes.
no ill intent, no whatever. And I looking at even compliments, right? How many people you look at compliments, they're complimenting you. Forget me, I don't get compliments, but you get compliments of her, you're beautiful. Oh my God, look at her. She looks great, look great. And then their partner, man or woman, man, you never compliment me. And that's
Yes.
when I said about the title about, compliments can be dangerous. And are
Yes.
you complimenting other people more than you are your significant other or your
Yes.
partner? And this could go with parents, right? You're
Yeah.
a grandchild. My daughter, I told her I'm not going to be a grandfather until I'm 80, like I have any control over that. But look, even compliments, are you complimenting other kids? Other, kids, oh, they're great. They do this,
Yeah.
but you're not complimenting your own kids. So, have you run into that in your search
Absolutely.
and in your post about that?
Absolutely. Another thing that was brought up to me by one of my children who are now, in their 30s. Um, so this is a memory. Like, the reason why I bring that up is this is a memory that they had. Okay.
Mhm.
That when their friends would come over, I would bake cookies, I would have music, like it would be a ritual.
You were
But it was
fake.
just, yeah, but when it was just them on the weekend, it was like, "Oh, yeah, I'll make cookies, I guess," or not. So
Right.
it was, am I actually being more present, which is the basis of which I didn't bring up in the beginning. So my practice is my therapy practice, my coaching practice, everything is under the umbrella of coaching, is from Zen Buddhism. And uh, being present with someone is so important. And
Yep. For
so if I'm being really present with my children, only when they have friends over so that I look like a great mom, but I'm forgetting and I'm taking them for granted. Like, I love them, but I'm taking them for granted on other times, then all of that is empty. You know, that's kind of now my kids weren't like upset when they brought it up to me. They were just saying, hey, well, that reminds me of,
Sure.
X, Y, and Z.
It comes across as, let's be honest, it comes across to them or other people as being fake,
Yes,
being like a politician, being
exactly.
you're not being authentic. You're putting on an act.
Yeah,
That's a old age addict,
yeah, yeah,
adage that we come from. And real quick, people, please join the comments. Throw the questions out there, comments, insights,
yeah.
whatever.
I would
And
love to know how people feel about
yeah,
compliments
absolutely.
and their background and their background. And by the
Oh,
way,
awesome. Yeah.
I'm gonna probably dribble my smoothie here.
Oh, that's all right.
So
Hey, I
so good.
always
But
have
it's like it's
people know I
it's
always
in
have
this.
coffee.
Like why do they I mean, I know why they do this, but this is not the best way to I don't know. Hold on.
Just to annoy people. No. So looking at I was gonna say maybe I need that smoothie recipe so I look young too.
Oh, so
So
good.
but be able to look at, the compliments. And if you look at, how many people have run into that situation
Mhm.
where, you were a child growing up, like,
Yeah.
Michelle talked about, and, it could be a child, teen, significant other, maybe a prior relationship, your current
Yeah.
relationship, where you're like, damn, I didn't even know if they even knew what the word compliment meant. And all
Yeah.
of a sudden they're delivering it like rapid fire, like it's so easy and fluid for them. But I'm
Mhm.
not getting any compliments.
Right.
I'm not getting any, man, you don't think, and some people, they want to, let's face it, most people want to be attractive to their partner.
Right.
And, being attractive or how you dress or how you smell or anything, you could, right, work with the grandkids or anything, do your job. And oh my God, that was awesome. I heard you on that call and you were phenomenal.
Mhm.
You were so smooth and so quick witted. And, and I know that's where you want those people to target your acts of service and your accomplishment.
Right, 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 right.
And it's nice to be heard. And how many people want to be appreciated? And that's where those compliments and affirmations, they come from. But we got to be careful if we're delivering them to everybody else, but not our
Mhm.
significant person. Now we have to look at why. What's getting
Right.
in the way of that? Or do we always look at the negative, right? It's so easy to look at, well, if you did this, you did this, you did that.
Right.
Yet we're not looking at the positive. And is that how we are, human
Mhm.
nature? Or do we have to sort of pay, like Michelle said, be more present
Mhm.
and hold ourselves accountable to be more present and recognize those good things in our person?
Yeah. And I this goes with friendships as well.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
I just severed a friendship because every single comment was, just really it was an insult. It was
Oh my
like
goodness.
little degrading things here and there. And
Do you have an example by any chance? Not only for me,
oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's more important about me, but
Oh,
no, I'm
yeah.
teasing. More important about me, but the listener, so they might be able to relate.
Yeah. So, a good person, again, this person is a good
Sure.
person, but I found that, sometimes people have ups and downs. You're not always showing your best side to your friends. I totally, I get that.
No.
But when I took like a mental history, this person was really only ever needing something from me. Okay, which is again fine. You can have a transactional relationship sometimes, but if it comes with pressure or baiting or gaslighting and things like that because they're not in a good place and they're not getting healthy, they're not
We're
trying to get
manipulating
healthy,
you. Yep.
then at some point, so the thing that did it for me is, this is kind of funny in a way. I had to teach myself to really love going to dental cleanings. Okay. So
Oh, hold on a second.
don't have the best teeth.
Hold on. Do we You had to bring we're talking about this the last week or so because I had and then we both had dentist appointments. It was just ironic. Not together. It's just,
Wouldn't
eh,
that be fun?
I had a freaking
Cuddling up on the chair.
I know, cuddling up on the dentist chair, right? Okay, her mouth, her turn. Yeah. I had an implant, or that didn't happen, but I had a bone graft done and my, tooth pulled and bone graft done. And, Michelle, oh, I like my teeth clean. I'm like, man, you need more help than anyone can give you. No, no.
Well,
So that I had to bring that up. It was funny.
well, I'm going to quick tell the dental thing, and then I'll go to the other thing. So the reason why I like dental cleanings is because I did hypnosis on myself, because I had such anxiety, because when I was a kid, my mother was given a medication where when my teeth came in, the enamel wasn't fully formed.
Yes.
So
Oh,
I
a
had a
lot of
lot
us
of
had.
issues.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, and so the dentist that I went to used to smother me, and he apparently abused a lot of kids, and he then committed
Oh,
suicide, rest his soul. But he did it, I guess, because he had abused so many people, and that came out. But I had a lot of
oh.
teeth issues. I've had surgeries, like the whole thing. So I've had to learn to make peace with, like, I need to get into the dentist more. I need to make sure my teeth are clean. So what I did was I hypnotized myself through my own work, and focused on seeing the positive. And
NLP
so,
work and
yeah.
yeah,
And
good
now I
for
go
you.
every 3 months to get a teeth cleaning, because then it's no, I really his face.
I know. Hey,
No,
people might not be looking at my every 3 months. I'm like, I can't. There's not a damn
oh
thing
my
I
God.
can do to help you,
The
Michelle.
scraping is like a little gum massage. Oh my God, it's so good. But the thing is, if you go every 3 months, no, listen, if you go every 3 months, like, they're so on top of it. It's great. Anyway,
I,
so
sure.
anyway,
Okay.
I
Sure.
was I consider my teeth cleaning days, I take the day off from work. I enjoy the whole day. I make it a ritual. So I get my teeth
Wow.
cleaned, and then I'm just like enjoying the day. So what happened was, she texted me something very baiting, because her business had failed, and from like 5 or 6 years ago. And she
Okay.
was basically saying like something about her business. And I said, don't worry about it. Like, what you do is really good. But the fact that your business failed, it's just like, people that are self-employed, we don't consider it a failing. We just consider it like,
Mm,
that's, things work out and sometimes they don't.
they don't.
Well,
Right.
then she started saying, oh, you're condescending and you're this and you're that. And I was like, okay, she was baiting me. And I basically wrote back, like, I have a dental appointment. You're not ruining it for me. Sorry. I'm sorry you feel this way. Done. And then that was it, because there were many instances of the baiting that no matter what I said would be a
It wasn't a
problem.
one-time issue. It was the only thing that changed basically, Michelle, for you was the tolerance.
Right.
And
My
you look
tolerance was
at,
like,
and even with her, your former friend, if you are associate, right? We all have different levels. Did you ever receive any compliments for your accomplishment and the challenges you've gone through? That you're a genius, highly intelligent, and people don't look at. I mean, I knew this
thank
from
you.
before when we talked, but a lot of people don't realize that you are, I mean, it's underneath the spectrum or, mild Asperger's, which they don't
Mhm.
even use that term anymore. But a lot of people, when I knew that, but people don't realize that in the challenges and struggles that people go through. And it's nice to compliment, make others feel, and it's genuine. It's not fake. It's not made up. It's not, your intentions is not to get something out of it,
Right.
or that you're, oh, I'm going to compliment this because I might get a date, or I might get a little booty, I might get,
Right, right.
I'm doing it because that's how I feel.
Exactly. And I think that whether it's a friendship, especially with a partner, now friendships can come and go and they have different levels, but your partner, that's a contract, whether it's a marriage contract or an emotional contract, that is the person that you expect to give you the gift of presence, and to recognize when you're going through a hard time,
And
or when you're
absolutely,
overcoming something even minor,
compassion, empathy.
compassion. Yeah, just general compassion. And that's where I think that if you're someone who says, I have a hard time accepting compliments, therefore, if I walk down the street and people bark at me because they want to like hunt me like a dog, and you see that as a compliment, which,
I'm saying,
you know, people never expect that if you're Zen. But
no, I know, and Eastern philosophy and stuff as well. So yeah,
well,
it cracks me up.
well, the thing is, they have right speech in Zen, okay? But they also have your truth. You have to be in your truth. So if
Yes,
my truth is by dropping the f bomb every now and then that's my right speech. So if it's not hurting anyone,
yeah,
so
that's my
so
favorite word.
so if someone is saying, like, if you go from, I have a hard time with compliments, to anyone can do anything as long as it's towards me, objectifying, not objectifying, whatever. And let me also state, there's nothing wrong with being objectified. It's the intent behind it. So I'm all about, listen to me, I'm all about being objectified. But so I'm all about that.
I have no problem with
But
it.
yeah, it needs to have a context. So context is everything. So a bunch of strangers barking at you, not really complimentary because probably.
Does it now? What is the difference? And I tell people this, even with compliments, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I taught, I haven't taught college classes in a few, it's been a while, but I taught for a long time. And I would talk about, compliments, and I would talk about this aspect, even if you are not, and this might be a good lesson for people out there. People might get asked out, get a compliment, and it's the childhood, freaking teenage years. Ew. Like you're insulted.
Right.
My question is, why would you be insulted? Why can't you still be flattered and honor how that person feels? I'm not talking that it's legitimate. It's,
right.
It's why can't you honor that person and be grateful? Man, thank you. I appreciate you feeling that, or thinking that. Why can't you be grateful instead of looking at, oh, ew, it's that person, or it's very derogatory and very selfish and very egocentric.
It's hierarchy.
It's sad. Yes.
Yeah. So again, the intent. So if you're a female walking down the street and a bunch of construction workers are barking at you, whatever, it's not really personal for you. It's more a ritual for them to do. It's not really about you.
Point.
That being said, if you talk to someone who is in Starbucks or something and they buy you a coffee and they say you're really attractive or something like that, well, then that's a little bit more genuine. That's not a ritual that they're getting attention for or like a high five from their buddies. That's more about you.
It's more specific.
It's specific.
It's almost, okay, is it intentional or is it a habit? Right?
Exactly. And that's the other thing is, if you have a partner, and I feel, now I'm not a couples therapist, but I've seen many people talk about their partner.
Absolutely.
And let me tell you, number one thing for men and women often don't believe this, and I don't want to bang my desk here, but women often don't believe this, but men need compliments too. If you are with someone, women almost feel like, okay, now that I got him, I either want to mother him or I don't want to pump his ego too much. I don't want him to get a big head. I don't want this. I don't want that. And it's a lot of mind games because of their trauma. Again, I'm through the eyes of trauma. If your trauma when you were a kid is that when you were good or you did good things, you had to have more responsibility and you didn't get love or something, you're going to be fearful of giving compliments to the person you are with, that you love. And if you really think about love is supposed to be selfless,
Wow.
So,
and I tell it's supposed to be selfless, right? But let's face it, we are, even with compliments and everything else. And there's a lot of people, with couples and everything, and I hear this, they want to feel appreciated. They want to feel little compliments, but sometimes compliments are not important to one another. But you look at, is it, love is supposed to be selfless, but I tell people, let's be honest, we're all in a relationship or prior relationship or whatever because we're getting something out of it.
Oh yeah.
It sounds selfish, doesn't it?
Right.
Like,
but it's evolutionary. Right?
Our heart wants, it could be sex, money, compliments, feeling not alone, all those things.
Right.
But do you compliment that person on what is important to them? And a lot of people, is it a hierarchy thing? Oh, I want all compliments, but I'm not giving them compliments like you said. Is it more about you pumping up your own worth, your own ego? But what are you doing for your partner too?
Right. Now, there's something
all about you.
Yeah, I want to bring something up. So there's a book that I love and I don't love. Okay.
Okay, I'm confused. No,
it's
you're fine. I know. I have those too.
I have a very interesting relationship with love languages. I agree with love languages, the book Love Languages. I don't even know the book's name, but I guess the
five love languages.
Yes, I agree with it to an extent. But the problem is that we change and evolve in our relationships. So
Mhm.
we need all of them. So you should know your partner enough to not say, I'm only going, okay, you need acts of service or acts of this or that, or you want the words, and that's what I'm going to give you because that's what you need when we're 33 years old. So now when you're 53 years old, I'm still going to give you this. And if you don't like it, you're the problem because, you have to stay emotionally connected and present with your partner and your friends and your family, everybody, to that's compassion, to be able to decipher what do you feel they need right now. Because maybe I'm just in that space where, like, maybe when I was 25, I can't really remember, it's a long time ago, but
Oh, jeez.
maybe that's when I wanted people to bark at me, like whatever, like I don't know, like I don't remember that. Maybe I needed that. But now it's like, oh God,
Yeah,
like no. So
absolutely. And I tell people on that note, with compliments, you might want that, but you want maybe more centered and more, I call it more depth,
yeah.
more wholesomeness about the person, maybe not about looks or that type of thing. And you look, and I tell people all the time, and I'm glad you brought this up about, not only compliments, affirmations,
Oh
but
yeah.
what worked for us for 20, what we thought was important, we could care less about when we're 25 or 30 or whatever.
Mhm.
And that's about being present, but also it's about, and I use this all the time. I talk about, do you have questions of care and concern about
Oh,
that person? And it's the same about being present. Why are they mad? Why are they hurt? But I take it in a different context outside of that as well. Are you being present enough? Do you care enough and know about what's working for your partner and what isn't?
that's really important.
And how
Yeah.
many people, oh, this used to work, right?
Right.
I used to love meat and potatoes, and now I'm a vegetarian, but you
Mhm.
still think I'm a meat, that type of thing. I used to love this music, and now I love this music, but now you don't even recognize I like this music or whatever it is, like activity. It could be anything. And that's why I said, are you able to evolve as an individual? Absolutely. Do you evolve as, you evolve together as individuals, but you evolve together as a couple. And it takes that awareness, that present, and
Yeah.
also picking out those good things that you notice in your partner that we take for granted. And that's
Mhm.
where those compliments and affirmations come in, and they're so crucial.
Yeah. One thing as you were talking, one of the things that really just this memory that came up is uh I had a couple. I'm going to change some of the situation. It wasn't a couple. It was the woman that was coming to me because she was first saying she was anxious. And then
Oh,
it came out that she was anxious about her marriage.
mhm.
And then it came out that she was anxious that her husband traveled for work. But as the story started unfolding,
Mhm.
he was traveling for work because the work that he loved wasn't making enough money for her. So he was doing the job that gave her the money that she wanted, but she wanted him home. But there was no, like, it wasn't an easy solution. It was like, well, can he not do that work and go back to what he did? Oh, well, no, we couldn't afford that. It was like, okay,
See?
so she wasn't seeing the act of service that he was trying to give her.
Yep.
But at the same time, he was also putting up walls because,
He felt resentful.
yeah, he felt like so resentment. He didn't even want to travel. Like, he did not want to travel. He wanted to be a musician and just work a side job. And they ended up with the new job. They bought the bigger house and the more stuff and the new car. And then now he was stuck with that.
Doesn't
And
make you happy, right?
yeah, and like the
Nope.
stuff doesn't matter. So and that's another thing that I noticed with trauma is that if you've had trauma, and I've been there, if you've had trauma, you often feel unsafe, but you don't, because you have this effective blunting in front of you, this numbness in front of you. You don't know that it's unsafe what you're feeling. You see it as anger, you see it as envy, you see it as the other person's wrong, you see it as a million things, but you don't really see that what you're really feeling is scared, because feeling scared is what you don't want to feel, so you push it out. And
And
really,
that is awesome. And
yeah,
I
she
tell
was feeling
people,
scared. So,
you know, was it scared? Was it entitled? And we could go in depths. And I look at, and I tell with anger, I tell people all the
yeah,
time, you feel what you feel. It might be based on a perception that's not accurate, but you will never hear me judge how you feel. You shouldn't feel.
exactly.
But I tell people anger, like Michelle said, I tell people anger covers up hurt,
Mhm.
fears, insecurity most of the time.
Yeah,
And if you go after those, it's, what are you afraid of? Are you afraid of, oh, you losing this lifestyle, or do you actually care about how this affects him?
right,
You get me?
right,
And this is where is it, are you loving me, the person, or is it the lifestyle I provide?
right.
And it's
And
hard, and it's that's where you have to look at what is, that ebb and flow, give and take, and what's important for each individual. And if they clash, and
yeah,
then you're going to stop going back on compliments. You're not going to give compliments. You're going to start
no,
affirmations aren't going to be there. The
it's the
tit for tat.
opposite.
Yep. The
Insults.
tit for tat, the battles, the distance are going to ensue.
Yeah.
And, it's, oh, Greg, we never argue, with couples. We never argue. I get it, but you don't talk.
Yeah,
There's
that's
no,
when people say they don't argue, it's like, "Oh, I'd rather have an argument. I'd rather
no,
you tell me that you argue
yes.
because you care at least." Like, no
And,
arguing
or
is like,
they're afraid, they feel this way, but I can't say this to that person because then they have power over me. So I'm just going to shut up. I'm
mhm,
not gonna, yeah, I can't tell them that I really admire or think of them this way or think they're sexy, attractive, intelligent, whatever, because now they're gonna have this power over me. And
yeah,
then they don't argue, it's surface level. And I mean, they don't talk, they don't touch. There's no negative, but there's no positive either. There's
yeah,
none of the compliments and affirmations. And you look at it when you think about that, and they see their person out in public or other family members, friends, and giving people compliments. You're like, huh, what?
yeah.
Who is this
It's almost
person?
like, yeah,
Who is this
exactly,
person?
exactly. You almost become so disconnected that you're like, "Wait a minute, they notice that?" And one thing that I also, so if somebody's had trauma and they've had, and this is a common one, where mom or dad didn't love them the way that they should have had, regardless of where it came from, okay?
Right.
They feel a void and they might want a lot more from that other person where it drains them. And it drains the other person, but they're never getting filled enough because they're not healed from the trauma. So no
No.
matter how many compliments they get, no matter how much attention, no matter money, things, whatever, it just never feels enough because because they're traumatized, they're
And,
always comparing themselves to other people.
and what's the word? Well, they could be traumatized or they could be entitled. So I look at two
They're
different things,
well, it's
right?
two sides of the same coin. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. Can I
Yes.
just say something that will irritate at least half of the viewers?
Please. You
All
know
right,
me.
so here's the deal. Here's the deal.
I love stirring shit. You
So,
know that.
so
So
but
please.
but hear me out because this is not meant to insult anyone. But look at your smile. You're like smiling. You're like so ready.
I know.
So, okay. So I think this is my personal opinion that narcissism and empaths as in like I'm psychic, I can feel things, I know things other people don't, I have special
Oh,
powers,
sure.
are the same sides of they're two sides of the same coin. So if
Yep.
you are traumatized, you become very sensitive and look 2 and 3 steps ahead of the future. And you get used to that. I totally get it. That's where I kind of go. I'm more in the like, I'm always looking ahead. I'm a little bit more cautious, a little more
Sure.
anxious.
Absolutely.
And a narcissist does the same thing, but they manipulate. So
Yes.
you might be looking 2 and 3 steps ahead and you're trying to protect yourself if you're an empath. But the narcissist is looking 2 and 3 steps ahead to manipulate. The
To
problem
get
is,
what they want.
while the empath is looking 2 and 3 steps ahead to protect themselves, in that split second, the narcissist has already found them. So it's this, that's why they often, I think, end up together. And so that also is one of those things where, speaking of compliments, we got to look at love bombing, which is a narcissistic thing. So you have to watch compliments with new
What if
people.
what
Hmm?
if it is legit? What if it is actually how that person feels? And
It's possible.
we have to look at consistency. And I agree
Yeah.
with you. I tell people, you're going to have a doormat, people pleaser,
Mhm.
maybe, maybe moderate to severe empath,
Right.
and
Moderate to severe. Yes.
a control freak or a narcissist. They're going to work great together because a people pleaser will always be yes, 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 whatever you
Yeah.
want, right?
It's a good
So I
relationship.
agree with that
It's like a match made in
analogy.
hell, but it's good. It works.
That doesn't mean it's healthy, right?
Right. It works for them. And sometimes if they can work on each other and themselves, I think it can
Ooh,
work slowly,
ooh,
but
ooh, ooh, ooh.
what?
I look at the empath or the people pleaser, that's been traumatized and always looking for, and there's people that have been traumatized, they act like narcissists too, as you
Yeah.
know. So I look at the ones, it's always their fault. Huge
Yeah.
empaths, traumatized. Oh, it's because of me. I got traumatized. They're blaming themselves, as you
Yeah.
know. So
Mhm.
everything's their fault. And the narcissist will never take accountability
No.
for anything. And
No.
if they do, it's fake. It's
Right,
not
right.
legit.
So when I say that though, I'm talking more about the self-centered person in the doormat,
Oh
not
yeah,
a
okay, great.
narcissist.
Terrific.
Narcissists are like they usually just get
Deuces.
worse,
Peace. Deuces.
right? And actually, if you are with a narcissist, if you're listening to this, they don't age out. Like, don't think that they're going to get older and they're going to grow up and mature. Like that doesn't. They actually get worse. So because as their looks fade, the things that they've used to manipulate people, their looks, their money, their this, their that, then that's it, right? Right. As their teeth fall out. Anyway, I have all my teeth actually. Well,
Minus one.
I have a
I'm
root
waiting.
canal.
I'm waiting for the
Look
implant.
how bad.
Hey.
Ugh.
Oh, nice.
Ugh. Anyway,
real,
whatever.
real quick, people, as a recap before we say goodbye. Looking at how are your compliments delivered, even though if they were intentional, and a lot
Mhm.
of people, that's not what I meant. That's what, and
Oh,
you get in
right.
an argument trying to fight what their intention is. Can you still look at, oh no, that wasn't my intent was to be genuine and honest, not to manipulate, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So own, present, after the fact, if there's a challenge, present your intent, but don't get mad for that person, how they took it, you know,
Right. Yeah.
and that's where I want people to understand those aspects. And, and also looking at, are you complimenting other people more
That's huge.
outside your circle in your relationship, your kids, family, whatever? Are you complimenting and being more noticing the
Mhm.
good in others and what they do, how they look, what they achieve versus your
Ooh.
own circle and your own loved ones? That needs to change, people. And you have to look at being more present, like Michelle said earlier, and realizing, why are you ignoring that?
Right.
Because we take it for granted. We're used to those people all the time.
Yeah. Can I ask you a quick question? What about
Uh-oh.
people who uh so with my friend that I brought up earlier,
Sure, absolutely.
he was more brought up and his circle is more complimentary towards women in that way.
Yes.
And so we had a discussion about it.
Hmm.
And so once we had the discussion, it was fine. So we kind of met halfway.
You taught.
I'm not going to shut him down and say, well, you can't be
No,
this way. You
no.
can't be who you are
You
around
learn
me.
from each other.
Right.
You gained
Right.
aware, you were willing to hear each other and
Right.
willing to learn from each other's perspective.
Right.
That's what
But
we need,
as someone
right?
as someone, yes, and someone who, I don't work with couples, but do you ever find that one person in the couple is more complimentary than the other?
Oh, most of the time, yes.
Oh,
I want to say, to be honest with you, Michelle, it is, in all honesty, in my experience, and I can't speak for anybody else, that, this is just me, a lot more men on average are a lot more complimentary
oh yeah.
than women.
Yeah.
Um, and the men feel maybe, not appreciated, not just like women do. But I
Yeah.
see that more in men, but men hold it in more, and I teach them they
Mhm.
need to express it more.
Yeah.
And I also see, with compliments and everything else, I see a lot more women with challenges or issues, and it could be self-esteem or egocentric, one of
Yeah.
the one of the two. That I see a lot of men that they own their shit.
Yeah.
They hold themselves accountable a lot more than women do, where women will excuse it. they'll condone it,
Wow.
they'll justify a lot of their actions. Men do too. Don't get me wrong, please,
Yeah.
people. And people know me. I'm not. Oh, men are all that. No,
Right.
I tell people I'm an equal gender basher.
Right.
Okay,
Right. Yeah.
so I'm all about that. But I do see, women that don't. I cheated because he did this. I did that,
Right.
and the lack of remorse and justification. The more justification and condoning it is, I see that, and I don't know if those coincide with the compliments being delivered to men, or maybe social society evolution. Oh, men
Mhm.
don't need that. Men are supposed to do. And that's where I try to look and learn and research, even with couples, about what's going on. You might think this, but that
Mhm.
might not be accurate in your situation.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And
So
it's just it's just sad to see because it's so compliments are about you and who you are, even if it's about your appearance. So to reject that is also to reject a gift that someone's giving you.
thank you.
So,
Exactly
you
what I
know,
was saying earlier. And that's, don't, you know what? Be flattered, be grateful.
mhm.
Um, don't be freaking arrogant and narcissistic and bougie. So, um,
It's true. Yes.
emotionally, I call it emotionally bougie. And
That's such
yeah,
a good you need to write a book on that. That's a
oh, I
great
do. And
book title.
real quick, and I do have to let go. But maybe most people don't know, and I mention this probably almost every episode that I do, and 84, 85% of my clients, my peeps, as I call my clients in my office, virtually, are African American. They're people of color. So,
Yeah.
they always say, "Oh, Greg, you're like a black guy in a white skin," So bougie and all. But and I have to ask, are you emotionally bougie, materialistic bougie, or both? Right? No.
Right. Right.
But Michelle, please, real quick,
Mhm.
tell people where they can find you,
Okay.
um, who you work for, who your ideal client and people you're looking for to help, and we'll say goodbye.
Yeah. Well, number one, first of all, thank you. Number one, I am very inclusive. Everyone's welcome, but I will tell you that it's through the lens, my work, of working with females and
Yep.
a Zen approach. So it is with a Buddhist approach,
Mhm.
and it is through the lens of helping females, but anyone's welcome, totally inclusive. It's a party, a healing party. So you can reach me at michellepava.com. And if you're interested in more looking at the transpersonal psychology, the spiritual
Mhm.
way to get in touch with yourself and heal yourself, self healing, because I believe we all can self heal. Self healing is where it's at. And it's only about you. So it's not about fixing other people or finding out why the narcissist did that or your ex did that. It's about you only, and that's it. Just like focusing on, like, keep your eye on in the lane.
Yep.
And so if you're interested in that, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. And don't be ashamed, because in that self healing doesn't mean we can't have help
Oh,
from
totally. I go to a therapist.
professionals. Yeah, we
Yeah,
all,
yeah.
absolutely, we all need help. So,
Uh, Tuesday at
Michelle,
9. That's my
it's
my
always,
therapy date.
I have so much respect for Michelle. She knows, I appreciate you. We have to do this more, of course.
I
We,
can't believe
you
we
know,
didn't laugh because usually when I'm around you or even talking to you, I crack up laughing. So the fact that that
oh,
didn't
my
happen,
apologies. I was trying to be good. I was trying to be good.
and that's why I'm so comfortable, like looking at my teeth and everything. I'm
Oh,
like,
you're
what am I
fine.
doing?
No, I tried to be good. Yeah, I know. You know me. I love joking around, laughing all over the
Mhm.
place. But yeah, I was trying to be good a little bit. But you still fighting this
Thank
ill.
you, because
But
I
no,
was
thank you
now
for
I'm
making me
older and I would probably not hold the urination. So thank you.
laugh. Good. Michelle, thank you so much. Find her out, michellepava.com. There is a link as well underneath on the YouTube channel, on Facebook, all over the place as well. And I'll post it on Instagram, Twitter, all over the place as well, where you can find Michelle. As always, you can find me social media, Love Guru Greg, or the art of relationships.org is my website. And everybody, I appreciate you very much. And I definitely appreciate Michelle for
Thank
spending
you.
her time with us. So thank you. Bye bye.